Do you want your vocals to sound like Tame Impala and let it happen? This is what I recreated. And I'm going to show you how you can do it too. So step one is recording your vocals, obviously. This is the most important part because a great recording means better vocal quality and less fixing in the mixing. So make sure you first sing as good as you can, do multiple takes, 10, 20, and then choose and cut the best parts. Second, a good microphone. There are some pretty decent ones for good prices. Third, I would say good headphones, the closed back headphones. We don't want the instrumental to leak into your vocals. And fourth, the room or space where you record, it has to have some good acoustics to avoid any unwanted noise or echo that we would have to remove later on in the mixing. For this song, I recorded 6 voices, 2 takes for the Oh Baby part. 1 voice is panned to the right, 1 to the left to give that wide stereo effect. Baby, now I'm ready. Then for the vocoder part, there's the lead melody. That's basically just following the original one, and we're gonna use this one for the vocoder effect. Can I vanish you and not scare me? Try to get through it. And then 3 harmonies, low, mid, and high. The low one basically follows the lead vocal. It's a little bit more basic. It's an octave lower. Can I vanish you and not scare me? Try to get through it. It's horrible, but trust the process. Then the mid one, this one is really simple and almost monotone. Can I vanish you and not scare me? And then a high one. Can I vanish you and not scare me? And then I duplicated the lead one here and I chopped some of the parts to give some dynamic to the harmonies. Do not scare me. Try to push through it. So all together they sound like this. You will not scare me. Try to get through it. Try to push. And that's the recording. So step 2 is what I call the holy grail of vocal mixing. Basically it's tuning, EQ, compressor, and de-esser. So for the tuning, I use Melodyne. It's a pitch corrector, but you can use autotune or whatever you like. I just feel like Melodyne is more subtle and natural, more human, because you can keep some imperfections here and there. So a little misconceptions that people have is that they think that autotune and tuning it's cheating, that good singers don't use it. That's wrong. Everyone in the industry uses some kind of pitch correction. If you want your vocals to sound professional, you need it. Get over it. Using Melodyne or any pitch correction or autotune doesn't mean you cannot sing. In fact, if your vocals aren't good, no amount of tuning will fix it or make you sound like Beyonce. You need to sing well first to get the natural sound where it feels like nothing's been added. Otherwise, it will sound really robotic and awful. I'm just going to show you the difference. This is the original one with nothing. Now I'm ready, moving on. Oh, baby, I was ready. And this is the tune. Baby, now I'm ready, moving on. See, subtle, professional. So make sure you tune all of your vocals. Once we're done, we're gonna start with the EQ. So I use the Pro Q by FABFILTER. It's super precise and easy to use. So the EQ, I do it on each individual track. What I usually do is I cut out the low and high frequencies that aren't needed to make the vocal sound clean and focused. I'll also lower or boost some specific frequencies that feel harsh or annoying or too light. It really depends on the vocal itself. You need to trust your ears here. Every vocal is different, so just experiment and adjust as needed. So next we have the compression. I use the FABFILTER Pro C. So what the compressor does is it balances the volume of your vocals, so the quiet parts are louder and the loud parts are softer, so everything sounds consistent. Push through it, you and I thinking, and now we're not do it. The Pro C actually has some really good presets here. So you can use the preset as base and then you can, you know, tweak the settings. You will not scare me. Again, trust your ears and adjust until it sounds right. So last must have is the de-esser. I use again the FABFILTER Pro DS. ABLETON has a de-esser too. It's okay, I guess, but this one is honestly 1,000 times better. So what the de-esser does, it helps soften those harsh sounds that can be annoying in a mix. They belong to someone and I'm not stop. So this was the before. Can I vanish you and not scare me? Try to get through it. Try to push through it. Professional. After this, you can add more stuff to refine the sound. You can use multiple EQs, compressors, and even a couple of de-essers if you want. It really depends on how you want your vocals to sound and the quality of the recording, as I said, and also your personal taste. There's a million ways to achieve a sound. Just find the best one for you. So back to the vocals. We're on the lead one, which is actually going to be the vocoder one. So I used an OTT. It comes on the multi-band dynamics. It's a multi-band compressor that works by compressing different frequency ranges, low, mid, and high. So you can control how much each range stands out. Be careful though, because the OTT is super powerful and too much can make the vocal sound over-processed. These are the settings that I use. Now, this is where things get a little bit more specific for each vocal. For the lead one, I use the vocoder effect. I use the ABLETON one here, which is free. Now Kevin, aka Tame Impala, from what I know, uses the Roland VP330, which is one of the best out there, but it's crazy expensive. I don't know about you, but I certainly don't have the money for that. So I'd say this one gets the job done. So these are the settings that I went with. I adjusted them by ear to get as close as possible to Kevin Parker's sound. This is how it sounds. Can I vanish you and not scare me? Try to get through it. So I'll show you how it works. So the default settings are like this. So you see we have the carrier set to noise. These are some settings that you can change based on how you want it to sound. The important one is actually this one. So this one sounds like this. You have to set it on external. You have to tell it what to do, because like this, it's nothing. He's saying, what do I do? What notes do I do? So what I did is I brutally took this wavetable, put it here. The only thing that I changed is this little setting here. And these are the notes. I'll leave them here so if you want to copy them. This sounds awful. Yeah, we don't want to hear that. You will have to turn this one off. We don't need it, honestly. We just need to tell this vocoder, actually this one we can delete it, but to tell this vocoder synth. And can I vanish you and not scare me? Magic. After the vocoder, I added a glue compressor, which is a compressor. Don't go too heavy with it. I usually don't use it on an individual vocal, but I use it on groups because it helps blend all of the vocals together. I kind of liked how it sounded with the vocoder. It's super subtle, so you barely notice it. So then I added this chorus effect to enhance and achieve that robotic sound. Not too strong because it will sound too bad. Here's a before and after. Can I vanish you and not scare me? Then another compressor. I used the ABLETON one. Then I used another EQ, and this one I used it to lower these low frequencies because I felt that after all of the effects, the lows were a bit too much. So here's a before and after. Try to get through it, try to push through it. Professional. I just like it better. this way. The rest of the vocals are going to be a little bit faster. Here, there's, again, on each track and Pro Q, worked on the group bus, as you can see, so I can apply the same effects to everything. It's faster, lighter for the CPU right here, more uniform, especially if you know that you want the same sound on all of these vocals. So again, compressor, de-esser, OTT. Glue compressor here too. It blends all of the vocals. I use a super soft chorus. I feel like it helped blend the harmonies with the vocoder and also a vocal doubler. I think this is the IZOTOPE one. The name itself tells you what it does. Don't overdo it. Last thing, I did the same thing with this Flanger here. This is an effect that mixes a delayed version of the sound with the original. It creates that swooshing sound, usually used on guitars, just a little bit, because otherwise... Can I finish you when I scare me? Try to get through. So all together they sound like this now. Can I finish you when I scare me? Try to get through. See how without the harmonies it feels so naked? Then I grouped the harmonies and the lead here on another group bus. I added another glue compressor, another compressor that I'm going to show you later what it does, and then a gain. This is the FABFILTER Pro G. Usually the gain, it's used at the beginning of the vocal chain to adjust the volume input, but I feel like at the end of the vocal it allows you to add some vocal automation. It adds a little bit of life to the sound. Now for the reverb and the delay, do not apply them directly into the vocal chain. There are some things down here that are called the return tracks. This allows you to have more control over their depth, level, and mix, and it also helps avoid mudding the original vocal sound. Reverb and delay, they take a lot of space. They're called spatial effects. The reverb for the vocoder. What I usually do with the reverb, I use a compressor with the sidechain on, with the vocal that I want the reverb on as the sidechain input. This helps keeping the vocals clear because it compresses the reverb when the vocals are present, so the vocals can stand out but still have the reverb effect in the background. So for the reverb itself, I use this VALHALLA plugin. These are the settings that I use. I also apply some EQ to control where the reverb is active, and you're gonna use the return track over here for the dry and wet. And again, for the harmonies, I did the same thing. Compressor with the sidechain input harmonies, VALHALLA reverb. These are the settings and some EQs. You and I scare me, try to get through it, try to push through. Same thing for the delay. I use the same delay for the lead and harmonies, so I added it here on the group. We have the compressor, the delay. I use the ABLETON one for this. These are the settings that I use. Again, here some EQ. Can I finish you when I scare me? Try to get through it. Now for my favorite part. Again, EQ, EQ. I use another EQ here because I felt like these were, I don't know, kind of too high. Compressor, OTT. A de-esser, as you see. Here I switched it. I liked it better. Glue compressor. Usually for all of my vocals at the end, I use an EQ to boost the high frequencies that sometimes get kind of lost after all of these EQs and compressors. So what I did here, it's like cut those super high frequencies because I kind of wanted to achieve that muffled sound that Tame Impala has. And again, same thing as before, the gain. Now for the reverb here, again, compressor with the baby group as sidechain. Here it's a little bit lighter because these vocals are really muddy on that one, so I don't want them to be clear like the other ones. Now here the reverb, these are the settings that I used, and this EQ here. So here's a before and after. Baby, now I'm ready, moving on. Same thing with the delay, compressor, sidechain, delay, and EQ. Baby, now I'm ready, moving on. Over. So back to the vocoder part. If you remember this compressor here, As you can see, the sidechain is on baby. I noticed that on Let It Happen, when the oh baby comes, the vocoder part kind of lowers. It's kind of in the background. There's two ways to do that. The brutal way is to use the automation. So you click A as in automation. Here you go on mixer, track volume. So if the oh baby part comes around here, what you can do is you lower the decibel. I do it, anyone think that, baby, now I'm ready. What I did, so basically I used this compressor that I showed you earlier on, if you remember, with a sidechain from the baby group. So what it does, it lowers the vocoder part when the oh baby is on. So at the end, I grouped the baby group, harmonies group, and the lead. What we have is another EQ here. I wanted to match the frequencies of the original. To see if it matched, I use the Spen plugin, which is this one. The Spen plugin is a spectrum analyzer that shows the frequencies of your audio in real time. It helps you visualize the mix, so you can see if there's any gaps that you can go and fix in the mix. I have the original one here. As you can see, it's pretty similar. There were some frequencies here that were kind of imbalanced, so I used the EQ. And then another compressor. We're almost finished. In the master channel, I have the vocals and also the original instrumental, which is already mixed. So I use the utility, this setting here. I turn it on. So what it does, this one, it's all of the frequencies that are below 120. They're gonna be mono instead of stereo, and you want that because the lower frequencies can sound really messy and unbalanced if they're on stereo. Another super soft glue compressor, and the limiter. The limiter sets the volume ceiling. It controls the maximum volume of the track, and it prevents clipping and distortion. I always try to leave 6 dB of headroom, so whoever has to do the mastering, or if you have to do it by yourself, there is enough space to apply all of the EQs and compressors and without distorting the track. That's it. This is the final sound that we have.